What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Daily Dose with Dylan Davis. Obviously, I am your host, Dylan Davis. The Daily Dose is brought to you by the Painted Lines Network. So if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button to the Painted Lines YouTube channel. You can follow the Painted Lines on Twitter at the Painted Lines. Pretty simple. Please hit this like button on this video. And if you're new to the channel, stick around. Kevin says, hi, what's going on, Kev? I'm riding solo again today. Gint has basketball the next 2 days, so comment as much as you can. Join the conversation, and we'll have some fun with it. On today's show, it's once again all about the team behind me and the guy behind me. 2-5, balled out last night with a 42-point career-high game, and not just a 42-point game for Ben Simmons, but basically a 42-point triple-double for Mr. Ben Simmons. Tobias Harris also had a season-high 36 last night, but the Sixers fell at the hands of the hottest team in the NBA right now, to the Utah Jazz, now winning 20 of their last 21. They're 23-5, first in the Western Conference. They were frustrating to play against last night. Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench and dropping 40 and hitting 8 of 13 threes was ridiculous. They won when the Sixers were rolling and Ben was dominating in the first quarter with 19. We couldn't even break away from them because Mitchell and Ingles and Bogdanovich just kept hitting threes and keeping this team around. The Sixers gave up 18 threes. The Jazz made almost as many threes as the Sixers attempted. That was a major issue last night. So today's episode is all about last night's loss to the Jazz. They fall 134-123 to fall to 18-10 in the Eastern Conference, still in first place. But they've lost 3 straight, and they finished their West Coast trip with a 1-3 record. Let me see. Have some comments here. Dive says Ben Simmons sucks, 42 points. Who cares? Trade him. Justin, yeah, man, you can come in if you want. Justin's going to hop on with me and talk about last night's game. So here's the thing, guys. Normally, I'm not as chipper after a loss, especially not 3 straight. Okay. But when there's moral victories to be taken away like last night without Joel Embiid, I thought they were going to get routed without Joel Embiid last night. Let me bring them in. Yo,
what's going on, man?
Oh, buddy, you back at school?
Mike over here. What's up?
You back at school?
Yeah, I just got back the other day, so I had to completely switch up my setup, everything. Kind of got a little stressful.
You're in the PSAC, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
No, might have to kick you off early for that.
Oh, yeah, why is that?
Kutztown over here, buddy.
All right. I mean, it's not much of a rival. We beat you guys all the time. Listen, I'm purely talking basketball here.
Yeah.
Shippensburg basketball has been very good the past few years, at least that I've been here.
That they have. Henry says hello. What's going on, Henry? So, yeah, today's show is all about the 76ers Utah Jazz game last night. And, Justin, there's obviously negatives to take away, right?
Yeah.
The Sixers bench got outscored, 54-27, 55-27.
It was a bad night for the bench. But, realistically, it's been bad night for the bench for the past few games.
It's been awful.
Yeah, really, to put it lightly, yeah. Or to put it bluntly, I should say. Yes.
So I guess where I was getting before you jumped on was the fact that I'm not, you know me, I'm not normally chipper after a loss, especially not 3 in a row. But when I look at the 3 games and, I discussed Portland and the Suns lost yesterday, and it was like, okay, Melo flashback to 2010 Melo in the fourth quarter. What are you going to do? The Suns, you still don't have Shake Milton. The bench sucks. You can't overcome that. Okay. Now you got to go play the hottest team in the league. No Shake Milton still. Joel Embiid's a late scratch. Okay. So I expected it to be a rout. The fact that they kept it so close and the fact that Ben Simmons had essentially a 42-point triple-double, shattering his career high by almost double digits.
Yeah.
And Tobias Harris giving 36 as well. So there are positives to take away. I thought they were going to get their doors blown off without Joel Embiid against this team. They didn't. They stuck around to the end, basically, even though Utah covered the 8.5. But I'm not that angry, man. How about you?
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I kind of had the same feeling after last night's loss that I did after the Portland loss. It was just we were getting beat by their fourth best player half the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess it's different a little bit with Portland because CJ is not there, so that was a little bit tougher. But ultimately, this team is built around guys driving in and then the 3-pointers hitting, and that's what we saw that early in the season as well. And when they were hitting, when everyone was shooting 50% from the field, no one's complaining, everything's good, and they're winning games. It's a struggle when the guys that are supposed to be playing their role well, guys like Furkan, I know we won't want to bring up his name too much around you.
Oh, he's getting brought up today.
But guys like Furkan, even Shake for a while went cold before he got injured. And Seth Curry obviously hasn't been as consistent since he got COVID. So it's a bit of a struggle because the guys that are supposed to be doing that part of the job just have not been hitting as much. And part of me thinks is you can't be too hard on the situation with them and like really want to give up on them yet, besides maybe Furkan, because all of them are so young still. They're so young. Like realistically, all the guys we're talking about besides Seth, like guys like Shake, guys like Furk are they're like 23 years old.
Yeah.
Like and we talked about this going into
pretty
the year.
young himself, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think Furkan's 23. I think they're both 23. But like the point of what I'm saying is like this isn't a new issue. Like coming into the season, we saw like I think everybody saw this as an issue is who's going to play the point guard, who's going to play that backup point guard. And coming in, they're like, okay, I guess it's going to be Shake Milton, and it makes sense. But if you really want to contend this year, you may have to look into bringing in another guard.
Yeah, it makes sense on paper.
Yeah.
And I think for a while when he had that stretch of 4 or 5 straight games dropping in the high 20s, low 30s, it was okay, 6th man of the year candidate. Well, he's fallen off that cliff a little bit. Get back to basketball, you fraud. Nadir, don't start with me already, dude. Don't start already.
So I saw this actually the other day. I think I don't know if it was yesterday that you were talking about this with Nadir about Brett.
Yes.
So why? What is the obsession there with wanting Brett Brown? What does Brett Brown bring to this team? Because the players already came out, I think it was yesterday or the day before that, saying that their offense became a little stagnant. The ball was sticking to players. There wasn't as much ball movement. You could tell just by the eye test as well. What in your right mind thinks that bringing Brett Brown is going to make this ball move more? I mean, that was one of the main issues with our offense is that you have Joel the ball in the first half. He gets dead tired.
I can answer your question for Nadir because it's the explanation he gave me yesterday, and it has nothing to do with Brett's system. Well, I guess it does a tiny bit, but his point was the fact that because we're shooting so like fewer 3-pointers, obviously that's an issue when we're going to get into that, the 3-point disparity from last night.
Yeah.
But his thing, he told me yesterday, under Brett, Furkan shot 42% from 3 and Shake shot like 40 or something like that. And now they're shooting career lows from like Furkan's shooting in the low 30s or high 20s from 3 and blah, blah, blah. So that's where his blame is going to Doc.
Yeah.
For Furkan's shooting struggles. It's pretty funny. Nadir, I'll just get your boy a little shout out here. Dude.
Bro,
he throws me off so much. Like I'm trying to make a point here.
Yeah.
And so Furkan Korkmaz in the last 2 games has played 35 minutes.
Yeah.
He has 2 points in the last 2 games. Do you know where those 2 points came from?
Was it garbage minutes?
The free throw line. He's 0 of 10 from the field in the last 2 games.
But here's the thing. This is exactly has been the issue. The same thing happened last year after the Portland game. He hits this big shot. Everyone's excited. Everyone's like, oh, maybe he's going to turn it around. He had like a few really big games, and then all of a sudden he just falls off. And it's like, realistically, to me, that's just what he is. He is a shooter, but he is not a sharpshooter, and he is a shooter who is inconsistent. And the other thing I would say about when he played with Brett Brown, under Brett Brown, he got a lot more shots off because he was really our only 3-point shooter coming off the bench. Realistic, if you really think about the lineups when Brett Brown was here, your other shooting guard, who was your starting shooting guard, was Josh Richardson, and Furkan came off the bench as your shooting guard / small forward with Matisse Thybulle. So that's not a lot of shooting. So of course he's going to get a lot of shots playing under him, playing for that kind of a team. This year, he's coming onto a team who has Seth Curry, Shake Milton, Matisse Thybulle, who has been getting the 3-point shots every once in a while, not really hitting them. I'm not sure how I feel about him right now, but just he has a lot more guys that are capable of doing what he's capable of doing. And so that's why, and to move on from that point, that's why I'm kind of happy that Doc decided to put him on the bench towards the end of that game last night. Like,
took a little too long, but
I think that's more than obvious. I think we've been saying that for weeks. It's taken a little too long to give Isaiah Joe some more burn, but that's something I noticed and something I was pretty happy to see.
Yeah. So let's just get to the negatives first and get them out of the way from last night's game. There's two negatives that stick out to me. You could tell me if I'm missing any. A, the bench scoring. As I said to you earlier, I have the numbers here. Their bench outscored our bench 57-25. Jordan, another game where another bench player for the opposite team outscored our entire bench alone. Jordan Clarkson would have outscored our bench 40-25. We know that. So that's one. And then B, you look at the 3-point disparity. The Sixers went 8 of 23 from 3. The Jazz went 18 of 45. They attempted 22 more 3-pointers than the Sixers. They made almost as many as the Sixers attempted. That's an issue. And if you listen to the broadcast, you know, they kept saying, like, when are the Sixers going to do this math? Like, 3 beats 2, guys. Like, we all know that, right? But I look at the stat sheet, dude, and it's when you look at where a majority of the shots came from last night, Ben took 26, Tobias took 24. Between the two of them, they had 5 threes, obviously all coming from Tobias. So that number doesn't surprise me. You get what I'm saying? When 50 shots are coming from those two guys, Ben isn't taking a 3. And to get mad at him for that last night would be asinine, obviously. So 26 shots are coming from within the paint. And then Tobias, with that mid-range and getting to the basket, he took 5 threes, went 3 of 5, 60%, very good. But he went 14 of 24 from the field. So when you look at the amount of the shots are coming from, obviously the 3-point attempts are going to be way down. It's very easy to say, oh, shoot more threes. My answer to that is maybe hit a few, because now 8 of 23 isn't bad. It's not terrible. But when you look at the 3 guys who are really here to hit from deep, Justin, right? That is Danny Green, that's Seth Curry, that's Furkan Korkmaz. I read just Furkan Korkmaz's numbers the last 2 games. Seth and Danny Green combined 2 of 8 from 3 last night for 14 points. If you want to throw Furkan into that mix, the 3 shooters on this team were combined 2 of 10 from deep and 6 of 21 from the field for 14 points. You can sit here and say the system needs more threes. They're playing 90, whatever. The shooters aren't knocking down the threes right now. That's the issue.
I actually, and I think that is part of the issue, but I think more or less the reason why you're not getting as many threes off, at least last night, is because you don't have a guy like Joel Embiid out there drawing in double teams and getting more threes open. That's at least what I saw watching the game last night, is that usually when Joel's down there, he's drawing a double team every time. So that leaves guys open on the weak side, leaving guys being able to basically throw the ball around the horn, getting somebody open. So it's I think part of it is Joe not playing last night. That has to do with not getting a lot of threes off. But I think also some of it was interior defense as well. You saw like a good amount of times, at least to me, where they were just kind of getting to the rack easy. And I think it obviously has a lot to do with Joe not being in the game. But because typically they, like this year, have said that they're going to be protecting the paint and that they're going to let people shoot a little bit more. And like they said that, Doc said that in the beginning of the year. And it has worked early on when we're hitting our threes and when we're defending the paint. We had to struggle with Rudy Gobert going on the inside last night and with Donovan Mitchell getting easy runs to the basket when Rudy Gobert is setting picks. And that's just because Joe's not there. So to me, there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just I don't think the only reason we lost last night was because we weren't hitting threes it's just,
No, I completely agree. And this also isn't a recipe for success. Mark says they've given up 14, 17, 10, and 18 3-pointers made the last 4 games.
Yep.
That is not.
I will say though,
just success.
I will say though, basically every game we played, the team has been the hottest they've been. Like Portland, Carmelo Anthony, like you said earlier, literally went back to the early 2010s. Like he was like, he's not normally hitting just pull-ups, just not even looking at the rim, basically. It's not happening normally for him anymore. So, and plus Jordan Clarkson, I don't know how many threes he hit last night, but
8.
And Royce O'Neal. Where the fuck did that come from?
Oh, dude, don't start, dude. First of all, the fact that you just made me think of that number. So Jordan Clarkson made 8. Jordan Clarkson made as many as the entire Sixers team did from deep last night. And like to your point, Royce O'Neal, he didn't hit a 3. I don't think he had a point until that one deep 3 late in the fourth quarter when we went to the zone.
He hit 3 threes in the fourth quarter.
Dude, all within like the final 5 minutes. It was ridiculous.
And but here's the thing. And that's why, to me, watching the game, that's why I wasn't that upset about it. Because I'm like, I understand we're losing, but we're forcing their like literally one of their worst offensive players to hit shots, and he's just hitting them. Like you just can't do much about that. Like you stop Donovan Mitchell, stop Rudy Gobert, stop Jordan Clarkson, at least for a little bit at the end of the game, and then Royce O'Neal drains 3 threes on you. Like what are you supposed to do with that?
Yeah. So this is another thing coming up, and it's funny, man. It's funny what a few losses will do to you. I mean, I agree. I get it. He frustrates me too. Do you think Matisse could get a start over Danny Green?
No.
Just a few losses, they get the wheels turning in people's heads. We got to switch some things up. And then here we go. His struggles was due to Doc's stupid playbook. Mark my words, we won't have any kind of success with Glenn from the 90s. Nadir, were you saying any of this when they were winning? Like, were you saying any of this when they were 18-7, when the starters were undefeated? Did you have any complaints then? They lost 3 in a row to 3 really good Western Conference teams without Shake Milton, which is obviously hindering the bench more than I thought I would have ever assumed. And then the last game without Joel Embiid. Come on, dude. Oh, man. Abe says, I understand teams may be hot, but we were supposed to be a top 3 defensive team. We had to stop them from staying hot.
Yeah, but you're missing one of the best defenders in the league, and that is Joel Embiid down low, which makes it a little bit harder to run people off the 3-point line because then it ends up in easy baskets. And I think that's
when you have Joel in the block, to go off your point real quick, when you can run them off the 3-point line, you can funnel them down to your 7-foot rim protector. You don't have
our 7-foot rim protector last night was Mike Scott, so that's just not happening.
Right.
And so, it's just No, go ahead. You're good.
No. I don't have anything to say. Keep going.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, it's to me, I think a lot of the reason, at least last night, I agree with Abe right here. Like, yes, we need to be if this team is gonna go anywhere, they need to be one of the top defensive teams because realistically, on the offensive end, it's not like we have an insane amount of shot creators that are gonna be killing you at the end of the game. It's just not going to happen with this team. We're not the Brooklyn Nets. But when you're missing your best defensive player and you're missing your probably third or fourth best scorer in Shake Milton, like it's tough to beat a team who is one of the best offensive teams in the league. I think they're 4th in 3-point shooting. So it's at least they were before last night. So it's just there's a lot going up against you in last night's game, and even in the game against Portland where they just stretched you out and you couldn't do shit about it, really. Like and realistically in that game too, you let an old dude beat you right there. That's what happened. Like realistically, Ben was locking up Dame. I don't care if he had 30 points. Yeah. The man was like 6 for 14 from the field. Like, or maybe
worse, he was 6 of 20 or 6 of 21.
Yeah. Like he had a terrible game offensively. At the end of the game, they had a few jackass fouls on Tobias Harris. Now, mind you, they were warranted. They were warranted in my opinion, but like it's just it annoyed me that we lost, but like those 2 games. But my main point is they're not losing. They're not getting outplayed is basically what I'm saying. They're not getting outplayed right now. The other teams are just getting a good game on them for real. And that's honestly how I feel.
Justin, did you know that the Milwaukee Bucks dropped 3 in a row recently?
I didn't, because who wants to talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo?
But my point, do you think fans in Milwaukee are talking about how?
No.
how their coach sucks and their system sucks.
They're
blah, blah,
too
blah.
busy blowing smoke up Giannis's ass to get him to stay there. I want to talk about that.
All right, man. So that's the 3-point disparity. That clearly played a role in last night's game. When a team hits 10 more threes than you, that's going to play a role.
Yeah.
Utah also got to the line more than we did last night. That adds a few extra points. And then you look at the bench being outscored by 32. Recipe for disaster. But with all that being said, dude, they hung around until the very end, basically. And even when they were down by 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, late in the third and in the fourth quarter, they kept clawing their way back.
Yep.
Why did they claw their way back, Justin? Because Mr.
Benny
2-5 behind me. 42, 9 boards, 12 assists, a steal, and a block. 15 of 26 from the field. Hold on. 12 of 13 from the free throw line last night. So you combine that, right? So that's obviously inspiring to see because I love Ben. But did I ever think Ben would have a game where he drops 42? Not just 42, but a 42-point triple-double, essentially. Without an outside shot, that's really, really freaking hard to do. But let me tell you where I even get more excited for this. It's the progression and the production on the floor combined with the mentality switch you're seeing recently. Dude.
Yeah.
His post-game comments last night, he talked about his mental, how he's, he said something like, I'm starting to figure it out. He also said it was fun to dominate a game offensively. Someone asked him if he's ever dominated a game offensively. He said, when you put it that way, probably not. Like it's starting to click. And when you look at the last 3 games, I know they're losses. So something's not correlating at the moment, but basically a 23-point triple-double and lockdown defense against Dame in Portland. 16 points in the first half against Phoenix. Now, obviously, that dwindled out.
So real quick about Phoenix. Did you? I don't think enough people realize that literally Devin Booker only scored 13 points on Ben Simmons all night.
Oh, no one cares.
Shot like 30-something% on Ben.
Yep.
But then everything you see, ESPN, SportsCenter, NBA on ESPN, everything is, Devin Booker going at Ben Simmons last night after Ben Simmons said he's the best defensive player in the league. Like,
the best is when they put up.
Don't watch games. It pisses me off.
The best is when they say that that's their that's what they type on Twitter, and then they add the video of Booker like stepping up from the logo when it's contested. Like, bro, come on.
What are you gonna do with that?
The best is, look, did you see the Barstool girl last night? That video of her mocking Ben after the 42-point game.
No.
Saying how he can't shoot without 3 feet and was calling him a bum over and over again in the video. I'm like, dude, you're just a hater. Like, but I have one more thing to say on the negative side before we talk about Ben's game last night. No, because it has to do with the bench, right? And I was like, when I think of threes, like obviously Joel Embiid and Shake Milton and everyone being fully healthy, the threes will come, run through their offense smoothly. I really believe that. And they'll knock down more threes. But when you look at the bench, even with Shake back, their bench isn't good enough right now. I think you're seeing that. So the answer isn't internal. The answer is Daryl Morey getting on the phones. I think there's 8 games left before the All-Star break and the second half of the schedule comes out. Be on the phones. I think you're going to see another bench piece or 2 added. I don't think you can look at this MVP season with Embiid. You can't look at what Ben did last night. You can't look at what Tobias is doing and think we can't compete for one this year. Let me do what's necessary to get the right pieces around them right now. So I think the bench help will be external.
I will say about Daryl Morey as well is that he has consistently in interviews come out as long as he's been a GM, which I don't know how many years it's been, but I know it's been forever, about saying that he is never going to say it's a losing season. He's never going to say it's not a championship or bust season because that's what he's looking for. So he's going to make a move. It's just a matter of who and what team. And, I mean, I don't know how much you want to get into trade talks and stuff like that, but I know that's definitely something that it's going to happen. It's just a matter of who and when.
I completely agree. Getting said Josh Hart, dude. Get your Villanova ass up out of here and go coach a basketball game.
I will say Josh Hart actually wouldn't be awful, but I don't need him. Like,
I don't think Josh Hart
exchange Josh Hart for Furkan Korkmaz, cool.
Yeah.
But That's not the main position we need.
Yeah, I would go back up forward, obviously, and point guard.
Yeah.
Nadir says we need a starter. Green sixth man. I feel like if you're getting a starter, that's by trade, and in some way, Green would be shipped out. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
but
if there's
a
if there's a starter that we're grabbing, it's gonna be Green going and probably Mike Scott for sure, in my opinion, because that's the only. Like trying to think about the cap space in my head right now, those are the only two guys that make big enough contracts that are tradable for a starting caliber player.
Yeah, Kid said laughable. Oh man, I know Marquise is on this train. He said it a bunch yesterday. He wants George Hill and Blake Griffin. I'll take Blake in. I don't
need Blake Griffin.
I'll take Blake happily in a buyout situation. No one's trading
buyout.
for him.
I'm not.
No one can take on that cap.
I thought you were saying you would trade for him for a second. I was like, God damn.
No. Nope.
I was like, what are you talking about?
So those are the negatives.
Yeah.
Positives. I read you Ben's stat line, his comments post game, but dude, I don't know what it is. I listen to some people. I'm on Twitter, and it's like, some people think he plays with an extra incentive sometimes. Okay. Like he needs something extra. The All-Star voting's coming up and about to end. There's a Kendall factor in some things. Defensive player of the year with Rudy Gobert. He said it last night. He felt like it was kind of disrespectful that Rudy Gobert was on him. But the fact that he came out without Embiid, and I think he scored the first 8 or 9. He scored like the first 8.
Like in the first half, he had
21
or something like that.
No, he had 19 in the first quarter.
First quarter, I mean.
Yeah, he had 19 in the first. Then I think he only got 2 in the second.
Yep.
And he finished with 21, and then he went off again in the third.
Yeah.
So I can't say enough about the way he played last night, dude.
I agree.
He is I read you the number that impresses me the most is 12 or 13 from the free throw line.
Me too.
And then the fact that what is one thing we've continued to talk about on TPL Live or wherever we are is the touch and finish around the hoop.
Yeah.
Dude, what did I say he was 15 of 26? That's pretty damn impressive last night.
I will say, okay, and this is so nitpicky.
Oh boy.
So nitpicky. It does kind of sometimes still annoy me a little bit that he's not a little bit more efficient, being that he's only around the rim. I will say that. I understand. Like he took a lot of shots last night, so you're not going to make all of them. I completely get that. And obviously, amazing game from him, no matter what. And recently he has been super efficient. I mean, he's having games where he's going like 8 for 11. So you cannot complain about that. But I will say, when you're taking 26 shots and all of them are like little baby hooks and little layups and everything like that, I do expect a little bit more of them to go in at least. And that, like I said, that is super nitpicky, and I don't usually do that. But that's just a thought about Ben Simmons to me.
Here it is. He tweeted this the moment he opened his eyes this morning. Ben haters had a bad day today. Dude,
Yes,
they'll
sir.
still find a way to bitch and complain. Like I said, the girl from Barstool was on Twitter right after the game calling him a bum and everything. Like, how much of a hater do you possibly have to be? So
we still have people on Twitter saying, yeah, but if he wants to really get to the next level, he's got to have a shot. And it's like, okay, yes, we get it. He would be a better basketball player if he could hit outside shots. So would Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah.
Guess how? What's his shooting percentage? Is his
Awful.
team winning games? No.
Yeah.
Let's realistically think about that. If he's not good at it, if he's not confident in it, if he's not comfortable in it, why the hell is he going to do it? Especially when you can win games more by passing out to guys who can shoot 50% from 3. It's just, yeah.
There is something clicking mentally recently.
Oh, definitely.
And I don't know when it started, why it started, how it started, but it's starting to click on this road trip. And I'm going to say it. The league's in trouble. The league. I'm telling you now. I know they just lost 3 straight. And I know they lost last night with his 42 points. They didn't have Joel Embiid and Shake Milton. Yeah. If you add MVP Embiid, and you're not going to get 42 from Ben, I'd say
No.
maybe ever when Joel's on the floor.
You're not.
But if Ben has the aggressive motor and that swagger to him when Embiid's out there, and Ben's getting you 20 to 24 a game, compacted with an all-star Tobias Harris this season, watch the hell out. So I'm not as upset as I normally am after a loss last night. That's my biggest takeaway.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, you compact Ben with Toby. 36-point double-double last night, season high, flirted with his career high at 39. I mean, maybe that's probably the saddest part of it all. Like, the fact that Ben broke a career high and had that hell of a game, and Toby had that type of game, and it wasn't good enough.
No, and that's actually was my biggest takeaway last night. Like, right after the game, we got onto the post-game show, and my first thought was, dude, it's just like, I understand and I get it. It just sucks because those players had such a good game and we couldn't pull it out. And like that's really what it is. It's like it's understandable that we lose that game. Realistically, when Joel Embiid's not playing, you should lose that game. In my head, you're playing the hottest team in the league. You're playing one of the best defenses in the league and one of the best offenses in the league. Like, to me, I'm like, okay, I honestly, before the game started, I kind of in my head had it chalked up as a loss already.
So did I.
But like when Ben's out there balling the way he is the whole time, like, yo, if we
just want it more, like that expectation of a loss when you see him going out there like that, you're like, oh shit, maybe they can do this.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you get invested a little bit more than you were at pregame, and then it dies down.
Exactly.
That's the shitty part.
And can we also say how it's like you go like, why is it that damn there every single time we play a contending team, there's an injury or it's COVID, it's something, like every single time. Like the only game we've had this year that we've played a contending team and played both teams at full strength was the Lakers. That's it.
Completely agree. It was a big dub though. So, to wrap up the positives, there's three guys. There's more. Like I said, not having Joel. I said yesterday here on the Daily Dose, if Joel doesn't play when he was listed as questionable, this is going to be a rout. It wasn't. But
I don't think you also expected Ben Simmons to go off for 42.
Not for a single moment.
No.
But when you have that game from Ben, Tobias 36 and 10, 3 of 5 from deep, and then you have Dwight Howard, 14 and 12 in 26 minutes in a heartfelt game. He was awesome off the bench in a limited role. I think the more you simplify his role, the better he is. Stop trying. I said it yesterday. I saw Austin and Tiago or whatever. Well, it was either in our Discord or on Twitter. I think Austin said something to Mike Small about, Matisse trying to force in that bounce pass to Dwight in the pick and roll. It gets deflected. It goes the other way, or he drops it. It goes the other way. And Austin's like, that should never be the offense. Ever, 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 ever. I said it yesterday. The only time Dwight Howard should score a basket is if it's a lob dunk or he gets an offensive rebound and it's a quick putback. That is the only opportunity he should ever have to score. But he was really, really good last night. When you get back to the net, like that's the thing, guys. Is it a negative or is it a positive, Justin? Because it's a negative, clearly, because the bench is just not good enough and dearly, dearly misses Shake Milton. But when I sit here and say to myself, okay, outside of literally three players, no one else was good enough. You're missing maybe the MVP of the league right now, and you're missing your sixth man, and you almost took down the hottest team and the number one seed in the Western Conference last night on the road.
Yeah. So
I'm having trouble debating it. Is it a positive, like in the way I'm framing it, or is it this bench is going to continue to be an issue?
See, it's tough because I think you've seen two different teams throughout this year. You've seen a team that is healthy and is hitting their shots, and you see a team that is not healthy and missing their shots. So it's really to me it comes down to what are we doing that night, but that's ultimately I think what makes you think, okay, there's got to be moves made, because if there's a night where even without Joel Embiid, you're starting other All-Star Ben Simmons goes off for 42 points, almost has triple-double. Your second best scorer, even when Joel's playing, goes off for 30-some points, and you still lose after holding their star to 24 or 20, whatever he's had, 26, whatever Donovan Mitchell had. Like, that's a problem. And Jordan Clarkson beat you last night, and Royce O'Neal beat you last night. Two bench pieces that came out and played well. When you got guys like Furkan, who's supposed to be a shooter and not hitting, got guys like Shake or Seth, those guys aren't hitting. You need something else. It's obvious when your guys go off for that much. You got to win that game, in my opinion, at times. And yes, it's nice that we were able to sit there and make it close, and it was a fun game to watch at times. But ultimately, it's like the bench is a problem, and we know that, and we have to admit that to ourselves. We have to admit that these guys are young and not what you need. You need a stretch four, and you need a legitimate point guard off your bench. And honestly, that hasn't only been a this year problem. We've been talking about that for like 3 years.
Yeah. So I got two things now because I'm looking at the comments here. So Marquise says, if Danny hit 3 or 4 threes, Sixers would have won. I'll go one further for you, guys. I won't even put all that on Danny Green. Yeah. If Korkmaz hits one, if Danny hits one more, and if Seth hits 1 or 2 more, instead of both of them going 1 for 5, the Sixers win that game. And I know the math doesn't – they lost by 11, so it's, they won. No. It's at the time – it's the timing of the game in which those threes were attempted. The outcome ends up different. It's not – they were down 11 at the end, and then they needed those threes. Danny Green – dude, what were we down, 5 or 6? Ben kicks it to Danny Green on a fast break, and he literally hits the bottom of the net. I thought it went in, it hit that much net. And it just like he threw a line drive at the bottom of the net. Like if each one of those guys hits one more three, they're either in that game down 2 points at the end or they could win it. Instead, they lost by 11. So I'll take you there. Secondly, well, this is a good comment too. He says, I think it's a positive. Got to look at it as a what if we were healthy. We played against a team like that good without a couple of people. That's got to be good. I mean, it's definitely a positive. It's just a sucky feeling. But
like with that, this hasn't just been a thing with when Joel is out. Like it's been a constant thing. Like our bench guys not hitting threes. Like it's been a consistent thing for the past 2 weeks that guys that we're paying to hit shots are just not hitting shots. And also it's not even like it's been a consistent thing only this year. It's been a consistent thing over the past few years, especially with a guy like Furkan. And he is a guy when you have Shake Milton out and when Seth is on the starting lineup, Furkan is going to be taking those shots in the bench unit. Tyrese Maxey's not a three-point shooter, guys. We figured that one out.
Oh, so I have something to say about Tyrese Maxey too.
You need more consistent shooting off your bench if you want to be a top-level team, in my opinion.
So, hold on, dude.
What?
No, dear, I will give you this, man. Although it annoys me, you make my day. You do.
He just always has something to say. Always finds something to say.
Hold on. Let's address this for a second. It's on the coach if a player's performance declines. Could be the case. Also could not be the case. Let's talk about the player you're speaking of, though. He's speaking of Furkan Korkmaz. Because so let's think about this. He's elevated Joel Embiid to an MVP level. He's elevated Tobias Harris to this level. Him and his coaching staff, now I get it, Ben's points were down early in the year, but they're getting a different version and more out of Ben. You have Seth Karras, and then the rest of the guys are role players, right? So what your comment really comes down to is that Furkan, it's on Doc because Furkan's not hitting shots, and he's 0 of 10 in the last 2 games.
That's just like when the Clippers were in the Eastern Conference or Western Conference Finals against the Nuggets, and the semifinals against the Nuggets, and Paul George
and Kawhi just go cold.
Yeah, Paul George and Kawhi getting open shots, and they just can't hit them. And then Paul George in the media shit talking Doc when in all reality
he choked.
He's wrong. He's just missing shots. So it's like that. To me, that's the same thing. It's like a coach can only do so much to put you in the right positions and put you in the best spots for you to hit shots. Furkan Korkmaz didn't take any shots last night that weren't good shots. Like he was taking open shots. He just wasn't hitting them.
Ever. Dude, I can't watch it anymore. Like Isaiah Joe needs his minutes. And I'm not saying that's the answer for the playoffs. I'm saying right now. What?
Gabe, Korkmaz is missing wide open threes. What the fuck is Doc supposed to do? Shoot it for him?
Yeah. Oh, this show is fun. Korkmaz is horrible. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Let's not just turn this into
he's not the
First of all, I do want to say this. Korkmaz is not horrible. He just is what he is.
That's very true.
He is a streaky three-point shooter. He is a bench player in the NBA. That's what he is. He's not a consistent three-point shooter. That's just what he is, dude. Like I don't know what else to tell people with that.
So you guys can keep commenting along, but give us your opinions. Where's your head at after the last night's loss, after 3 straight losses? Are you in where me and Justin kind of are? You've heard us talk about this for over 40 minutes now. Are you? Yeah. It's okay. You know, you're missing Shake. You missed Joel last night. They're going to be okay. Moral victories, and then they can get right. Or are you, he's getting paid $1 million. I think he is good. I don't think he is good, but yeah, I think we're fine too. Abe wants them to go on a 5-game win streak. Well, I'll get more into the Houston game tomorrow and what's coming up. But what I will say is it is the perfect time to get right in a sense. You have Houston at home tomorrow. And I'm not saying you're going to roll Houston, but it's at home tomorrow. You have Chicago on Thursday, I believe, at home. You have Toronto twice. It's on the road, but Toronto doesn't necessarily scare me. I forget who the final 8 are. I know you have the Jazz again, right? I think it's the last game or second to last game before the All-Star break. So
I'm calling it right now. That's a W.
Yeah, it's at home too.
Yeah, it's a W. I'm calling it right now. Just because Joel's most likely going to be back there, and I think Ben is like, I got to beat him. I got to beat him. I think it's just going to happen.
Marquise says that everyone's okay. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad because, there's a lot of constant commenters on the show with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that they all have, most of them have steady heads where it's like none of them are getting too high and too low over this team. I just keep saying, enjoy the ride. I want Korkmaz's job. Getting paid $1 million to miss wide open threes. I might not be as good as it.
Abe, that's a great comment.
Holy shit.
That's a great comment.
Yeah. Mark says some home cooking cheesesteaks and we will win the next 5 games. I love it.
Okay, real quick, I need to address Nadir on this one. Hold on. So Nadir said Paul George hit the backboard under Doc's regime and now shooting 42%. Coincidence? Listen, Paul George was also injured going into last season. He had 2 shoulder injuries on both shoulders last year into the summer, and the whole season he didn't play well. Like he was not shooting well the whole season. Yeah. So personally, I don't put that on Doc. I really don't. Like,
well, first of all, you literally just said he hit the backboard. How the hell do you put that on the coach? He hit the side of the backboard. It was open in the corner. What do you mean coincidence, dude?
It's not.
No, and I got to come to my boy Abe's rescue here for a second. Then Danny's job is better. No, because Danny Green can play a little bit of defense. Furkan Korkmaz doesn't give you any of that. Not a lick. Danny Green's a veteran leader. He's won championships. He brings that to the locker room. And B, we know that Danny Green's a streaky shooter. We literally seen the dude tie a franchise record with 9 threes in one game earlier in the year. We know some nights he's 3 of 6, 4 of 8. Korkmaz is literally 5 games of 1 of 6, 0 of 5, and then he'll go 4 of 6. And then you'll have 3 more games of 0 of 3, and then you'll have 4 of 7. Oh
yeah, I was gonna say that too. Is like Danny Green, unlike Furkan, is not unplayable when he's not hitting shots. It comes down to that. Like you can stick.
Don't get me wrong, Danny Green's been very frustrating recently.
Oh, I can completely agree with that. But my point is that if we're just talking purely comparing the 2 players, Danny Green is capable of doing more than just shooting the basketball.
Completely agree.
I actually want to get into this comment a little bit. You cool with that?
Good.
Yeah.
Which one? Oh.
So.
Oh yeah. This is. Go ahead, man.
This is my domain here. So yeah, B-ball Paul Reed down in the G League for the Blue Coats, Sixers G League affiliate, just got Player of the Week this week. He is balling out down there, bro. Have you been watching the games at all?
No, I have. I told Dibes that is not. I'm not that big in the G League, but I see what you post. I see what the Blue Coats post.
Yeah,
dude,
he's going off.
Now let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's only been a week or so since the G League started up, so I'm not saying now, but like if he continued to play this way, can you see that transpiring to NBA play later in the season?
It really depends. So
okay, let me put it this way: could he give you more than Mike Scott right now as the backup four?
Depends on what you want out of him. So Paul Reed could definitely give you more defensively than Mike Scott could right now, in my opinion, because he's been versatile, being able to cover guards. I actually asked Connor Johnson a question about this. I said Paul Reed has shown good versatility guarding guys around the rim, but also getting switched out on guys like Kai Bowman, who's 6'1", and Paul Reed's 6'9". And he did pretty well with that, believe it or not. So, like, I do think he could come in and be a better defender than Mike Scott is. I don't know just yet if he could be a better shooter. And being that at the 4 spot, that's what we're looking for.
Right, that stretch the floor.
Like if you want to put him out there to run the court, play good defense, and to get to the rim, definitely. I think he's capable of that. But when it comes to just stretching the court, I just don't think he's as good at that right now. I think he's still got to work on that jump shot a little bit. This is a where I just saw it. Great rebounder. I think this is Henry. This is a great comment. One thing that I have noticed more than anything about Paul Reed, is that getting just sneaking in there on the offensive boards and getting putbacks, amazing. Like really, really good timing on his offensive boards, getting tip-ins, getting dunks, like everything. So I think that's really impressive to me, and I could see him bringing really good rebounding to our team eventually. But I just think the Sixers need offensively at that 4 spot is a bigger issue, and I don't think he brings that as much because he is more of an inside scorer.
Okay, fair enough. So that still leaves the void of needing a stretch 4 at the deadline or buyout market. Mm-hmm. Look, man, I don't know. Is there any other takeaways you have from last night's game outside of what we've gone over so far? I'm trying to think. I saw a comment earlier. I did have something to say about.
We can talk about Tyrese Maxey a little bit because I mean, obviously early in this, or like before the season started, when we picked him up, we were super excited about him coming in, and like he was playing really well when COVID was hitting and everything like that, scoring a shit ton of points, like doing his thing. Yes. He just doesn't fit as well with the team when he's not hitting. Like if he can't hit threes, he doesn't fit as well. And I think we've learned that. And I think eventually that will change. And I'm not saying he's a bust. I'm not saying he's anything like that. He's not. I'm just saying that he still has a lot of room to grow if he wants to play alongside guys like Ben Simmons, because we need a guy at that two guard spot or even the 1 guard spot, whatever, who can hit from the outside. Right. And if he can't do that, he's definitely going to struggle on getting minutes on this team.
Right. So I did have something to say. I'm glad you brought that back up before I forgot. Yeah. I love Tyrese Maxey, okay?
Yep.
And to your point, he was phenomenal earlier in the year when called upon, and then, he's kind of hit a rookie wall, so to speak, a little bit. I think
I don't actually think it's a rookie wall as much as it is just him. It's not his game yet.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? But there's something, he bothers me sometimes, man. He really, I will say this. Now, I know without Shake, there's a lack of, people that can get their own shot and a lack of shot creation off the bench.
Yeah.
He comes in short spurts and shoots the ball way too much. And he's 2 of 6. He's 2 of 8. He's 2 of 8 in like 12 minutes. Like, it's not efficient at all, right? And there's one thing that I noticed, and I literally put this in my notes to end the third quarter last night, and it's not the first time he's done it. He's done it multiple times this season. We got the ball we were winding down the third quarter, and it wasn't that, I think we were down by 6 at the time, or 7, I think we were down 7. And he's running the unit, and there's a 5 or 6 second differential in the clocks, right? He puts up a shot, and Utah gets the rebound with 6 seconds left. Or with 11 seconds left. So he took a shot, winding down the clock, with 6 seconds left on the play clock. They get the rebound, go the other way, and he fouls Jordan Clarkson behind the 3-point line to end the third quarter. It's a 9 or 10 point game instead of 6 or 7 to end the third. And it's not the first time he's done it at the winding down a clock. It's probably the fourth time I've seen him do it this year when he's had the ball in his hands. When, there's a 4, 5, 6 second differential between the clocks. You're losing. You don't want to give them more time to get down the floor and get another basket if you miss.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you shooting the ball with 5 or 6 seconds left on your shot clock? Not on the game clock, on your shot clock. No, they got the ball. Utah got the rebound with 11 seconds left.
Okay.
And there was
a
5 or 6 second differential. So he shot it with about 6 seconds left on our shot clock.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That can't happen. And then he fouls Clarkson. And that, dude, if it's a 5 or 6 point game going into the fourth, that's a much different game than almost 10.
Yeah. To your point about him shooting,
I get it, but
no, I don't think it's. I think it's a bit picky because he's a rookie, but I don't think it's a bit picky when you're talking about what you want to get from somebody off the bench, especially a guy who's supposed to be he's basically the number one ball handler off the bench right now with Shake being out. And to your point about him taking too many shots ultimately in the short amount of minutes he gets, I think to me a lot of that is because he's trying to take some of what Shake typically would. Because Shake has been having a lot of floaters typically when he's playing. Right. He does shoot threes. He does shoot mid-range shots. So I think he's just kind of filling in that spot. So I don't know. I think I understand why he's taking more shots. I understand.
I think some of it's out of necessity.
Yeah.
But when the number 2 of 8 in 10 or 12 minutes comes on my screen in a close ball games against great Western Conference teams, I need more. I know I'm asking a lot.
Would we be upset about the 8 shots that he's taking if he's hitting them though? You know what I mean? And I think that's what it comes down to. Realistically, 8 shots for a guy who's supposed to be a good scorer, supposed to be a guy coming off the bench for you in place of Shake Milton, basically. I don't think 8 shots is crazy. I just think it's the fact that he's not hitting them. What's up?
Put in 10 minutes?
No, I listen. I agree. It's tough. 10 minutes, yes. It's to me. It depends who he's on the floor on. Who he's on the floor.
That's my thing. Yeah, when he's out there with the White and Mike Scott and Thibault, it's almost out of necessity. So then, to your point, yes, it comes down to if he was more efficient, I probably wouldn't give a shit. But when he hasn't been efficient in weeks and he's chucking, dude, not just that. Some of the have you seen how far back he stands behind the 3-point line sometimes? Yeah. He chucks from the parking lot, bro.
It's weird because when he shoots it's weird to me because when he shoots it, I'm like, okay, he's got the range. It's not like he's shorting him. He's not shorting him. He's just missing. He's missing long. He's hitting off rim. He's just not accurate enough with it right now. And I think that'll come with time. I don't think it helps how COVID is right now, where from everything, because I listen to a lot of NBA players' podcasts. From everything that I've seen on them, they said their training time is weird as hell. Yeah. They can't go to the gym when they really want to. They have to do it on certain times. So it's hard for him right now to go and get extra work, especially on a road trip. But it's tough and it's hard for you to be able to go get extra work when you're not really allowed to go to a gym unless it's sanctioned and it's a sanctioned practice. So to me, it's hard for rookies right now, especially with him who's not the best shooter, wasn't even the best shooter coming into the year. It's tough to grow your game when you're doing that. So I think this year is going to be a little rough for him around the perimeter, but I think it will get better. I'm not out on him yet when it comes to shooting.
All right, there's one more thing I want to say. I want to do before we wrap up. So Sixers lose 3 straight, 1-3 on the West Coast stand, 18-10, still first place by a game and a half. We're a game over Milwaukee. I think it's a game and a half over the Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference. They come back home to take on the Houston Rockets tomorrow night. I'm okay with the loss. The loss is, I think they'll bounce back. Justin's on the same page. They got to get healthy. Shake and Joel come back. One last thing I want to do, though, because we're talking about this bench. It's been a story. There's clearly going to be moves, right?
Yeah.
But let's just say what it is. That to my point with moves, and, we think about, oh, well, what if JJ came here? Or what if a 3-and-D type guy like Taurean Prince came here? Like, whose spots he taking? Like, can he really? Let's go through a lock. Because obviously when it comes to playoffs, your rotations shrink, right?
Yeah.
Who's a lock right now? And let's run through it. Obviously,
Okay.
you have the starting five, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Of Joel, Ben, Toby, Seth, Danny. Shake, if healthy, when healthy. That's 6. Dwight, 7.
Probably Tease.
I guess because it defensively,
he's gonna get minutes.
So let's say 8.
Hold on, let me think about this.
Is that it? Yeah.
I'm trying to think roster construction here.
Yeah, hold on.
I honestly think Korkmaz probably would get run just because he's one of the only 3-point shooters right now off the bench, but I do think that's going to change.
No. My point is, let's go locks and see how many necessary, like how many guys we could pick up.
Yeah. So the starting five is obviously there. You have Shake, who's definitely going to be there. Dwight Howard.
And Thibault.
Honestly, you might be able to go 7 just because Matisse is a tradable contract. And although he's an amazing defender and asset, he doesn't fit as well. I think Matisse plays in the playoffs, but I think it's in a very small role and run. Like I agree. More defensive. So let's just say all of a sudden starts hitting shots.
Right. Let's say 7.
Okay, 7.
And how many guys do you think will be in the rotation? 9 or 8? Probably 9.
It depends who we pick up. I would assume 9. It's because that's typically what it is, and I don't think you want your starters playing that much, especially when it's Joel and Ben, who are both big bodies.
Right.
So I think it'll probably be 9.
So we have about 2. We have 2 open spots. Let's say. So are we? So does that make sense for backup 4 and another shot creator, whether it's that point guard that Jason Dumas tweeted out, George Hill or DeLon Wright? Is it JJ Redick? Is it a 3-and-D? Patty Mills would be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But so we'll say 2 because Abe mentioned earlier that a trade pod would be interesting and fun. So I'm trying to see how many necessary holes we would have to fill in a future pod.
So I think obviously the 4 position, I think if you can get a good backup 4 for this team, I think that this team is automatically way better. I really do believe that. Have another guy you're confident in when the ball goes out there to hit their shots. I do think although you don't need another guard off the bench, you don't need it. Like if you want to say, okay, Shake, you know what? We're just giving you the keys. You'll grow.
But the thing I like with Shake is he can also be that backup point guard. But if you brought in a George Hill or DeLon Wright, Shake can also play the 2.
Yeah, and that's something that I was going to get into now is like Shake, his whole like professional basketball career and college career has been an amazing catch and shoot shooter and an amazing just off ball guy in general. It showed last year too when he was hitting an insane amount of shots. Right. So I do think that, and I've thought that too, and it wouldn't surprise me if they brought somebody in and he ended up moving to that 2 spot. I'm trying to think who's a point guard in the league right now
I think George Hill would be perfect.
I think he would too, but what I was getting at is who's a point guard right now that's played under Doc Rivers before?
Do you have one in mind, and I'm guessing, or do you know? Or
I honestly don't. I mean, I like realistically, like I'm trying.
Well, I know people out there on Twitter keep saying free Lou Will.
It's not going to happen.
But it's not because why would the Clippers do that?
And why they're not going to trade him to the coach that that just up and left. It's not not up and left, but you know what I mean. I don't think that's happening.
I'm trying to think with you, man.
Because my point, my thought on that is, do they and this is like I'm saying is Shake is very young. do they want to just leave him in that spot, give him that opportunity, and keep
And
him
you look for
the offense?
And you look for a 2?
Yeah, exactly. And go for another, maybe a more shot creator type player, like a Jordan Clarkson, a player like that at the 2. And so, like, I'm trying to think of it, like Malik Beasley. Like guys.
This is true. I didn't know this. Abe said they've made it known they want to trade Lou Will.
They said that months ago.
I haven't
think
seen
that's
it.
happening. I don't think that's happening because the Clippers are winning games. If the Clippers were struggling and weren't in playoff contention, then I would say, yeah, sure. But it's just like the thing with Patty Mills. The reason why people don't think San Antonio would end up trading him is because they're in playoff contention right now.
Right.
So it's tough. Like, although I would fucking love Lou Williams. If I promise you right now, because early in the season I actually compared Shake Milton and Dwight Howard to Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell. I really think that the lineup, that backcourt from the bench of Lou Williams and Shake Milton would be utterly ridiculous. Ridiculous. Like, offensively,
get me excited, man.
Offensively, like that's a completely different. Like that. Who do you rather have? Furkan Korkmaz running the 2 or Lou Williams? Like, think about that.
Yeah.
And if we were able to pick up a stretch big.
I think that's the biggest one that's getting picked up.
I do too.
I think Morey's looking at this team and it's he sees it. And I'm not saying it's through trade. Buyout market, I think here's what I'll say. I think they pick up another guard via trade or a shot creator via trade and a 4 in the buyout market. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think it's very possible. I do think that it's possible to get a shooter in the buyout market as well. Like, maybe
I don't want to get anyone too excited. No, we were just talking about potential trades to fix the Sixers bench. Someone said that the Clippers before made it known that they were looking to move Lou Will. He played under Doc, 6th man of the year.
I will say that those rumors were like literally months ago. At least from what I last saw.
This name is heating up. This name is heating up.
Yeah. Which rightfully so. Kings are not good. He is not in their starting lineup. He's a stretch 4 career shooting. I posted this on Twitter the other day. Career shooting numbers, he's shooting like 39% from 3, and right now he's shooting like 28%. So he's on the last year of his deal. I think he's just under $10 million. I think he's around 8, and he's like it's a good pickup realistically. Like, he's a career good shooter from his career wise. Last year of his contract, $8 million, which isn't terrible. You could easily trade that contract to Mike Scott for a guy like that. We'd probably have to give up maybe like 2 seconds, maybe not even that. Like, it's like, I've
said this multiple times. People overvalue a 2nd round draft pick in the NBA, in my opinion.
I will say, I mean, Paul Reed, Shake Milton.
Yeah, you can find guys in the 2nd round. I'm just saying, as far as trading a 2023 2nd round pick.
Yeah.
For a guy that can help you possibly win now. Yeah,
and that's what I was about to say is realistically, like, are you trying to win now or win later? And Bielitsa or Bielitsa, whatever, however the fuck you pronounce it, it's he is a guy who helps you win now. And when Mike Scott has been consistently inconsistent, whether it's from injuries, whether it's from shooting from 3, that is a guy who like Bielitsa, yes, has not been shooting. Sorry, someone honked their horn. Freaked me out. Bielitsa has not been shooting good from 3 this year, but consistently throughout his career, he's been shooting better than Mike Scott has. So hopefully those numbers go up if we were to trade for him. Plus, he's going to have a shit ton of space.
I'm going to wrap up the show by saying the Sixers are going to be okay. They're going to bust out a few wins in a row, and they're going to stay in first place into the All-Star break. That's my prediction. And I will say that I do not want to see Furkan Korkmaz or Mike Scott in our playoff rotation. That is all I have to say.
I will say I think out of either of them, you're a better chance you see Furkan because his contract so low.
Yeah, I agree. All right, that's today's episode of the Daily Dose. I'm Dylan Davis. You can follow me on Twitter at DylanJD98. That is Justin Persichetti. You can follow him on Twitter at J_Persichetti. Justin, tell the people what you've been doing, where they can find you other than Twitter, or if you're just on Twitter.
Twitter's mostly it right now. I think I'm going to try to start writing some articles on the Blue Coats at some point. So go check out thepaintedlines.com for those. Make sure you subscribe. Obviously, please do that. And if you don't know how to watch the Blue Coats, you can go watch them at Delaware TV, DETV. They stream that. Also, you go to ESPN Plus. That's where I watch it. It's like, I think it's like $6 a month. So to me, it's worth it because there's a lot of college games on there. Most G League games are on there as well. So definitely go check them out. So we can talk some G League basketball. If you go follow me on Twitter, I post highlights of the game on there. I also am in the press conferences after the game with the players and the coaches. So I'll post some stuff about quotes and everything like that. So definitely go check me out on Twitter. So that's where you'll be able to talk to me mostly.
For myself, for Justin, subscribe to the Painted Lines YouTube channel and like this video. Go Sixers and have a nice night.
Yes, sir.